Right now, at this very moment, there's a programming language quietly running behind the scenes at bank teller counters, insurance call centers, and warehouse logistics systems around the world. Its name is RPG. It was born in 1959. That makes it 66 years old this year, older than Python, older than Java, older than almost anything you use today. We're going to trace how this language, so often rumored to be dead, has managed to survive this long, alongside the legendary system it grew up with, the IBM AS400. Here's why this matters right now. Ironically, as fewer and fewer developers know this old language, the ones who do are becoming more valuable, not less. Core banking systems, manufacturing ERPs, logistics platforms, these can't just switch languages overnight. Rewriting decades of accumulated business logic in a new language is a multi-year project, not a weekend refactor. In 1959, IBM introduced RPG, Report Program Generator, alongside the IBM 1401 computer. Just as the name suggests, it was a tool built to generate report programs. The core idea was, let's make this so simple that even a non-programmer, like an accountant, can build one. That's why RPG took such a distinctive approach. Instead of writing code freely line by line, you filled in fixed positions on the line, almost like a punch card layout. Column so-and-so was for the file name, another column for a condition, and so on. This became known as fixed format coding, and it would remain RPG's signature trait for decades to come. In 1969, IBM released the System/3, a computer aimed at small and mid-sized businesses, and RPG-2 came along with it. This combination was a massive hit, because this was exactly the era when smaller companies were first computerizing their operations. Inventory management, payroll, sales reconciliation. The demand to move these processes onto computers exploded, and RPG-2 was perfectly suited for writing that kind of business logic. As the hardware evolved into the System/34 and then the System/36, RPG-2 held its ground as the language of choice. During this period, countless small manufacturers and distributors around the world built their own custom business systems in RPG-2. And this created something that would later become both a massive technical debt and, at the same time, an invaluable asset, because a huge amount of that logic is still running today, decades later. 1978 was a genuinely pivotal year. IBM released the System/38, an entirely new kind of computer that was radical for its time, because it built the concept of a relational database directly into the operating system itself. That sounds obvious today, but back then, databases and operating systems were completely separate pieces of software. The System/38 treated the very concept of a file as a database record. Developers didn't need to write complicated connection code, you simply declared a file, and you could immediately read and write records. RPG-3 arrived alongside the System/38. It added structured programming elements like if-else and do loops, allowing for far more sophisticated logic, and, most importantly, it inherited all the benefits of this integrated database. This philosophy of the database is built into the language itself became a defining trait that runs through the entire history of RPG from this point forward. And then, finally, in 1988, the name in today's title, the AS400 arrives. It stands for Application System/400. IBM took on the challenge of unifying two separate product lines with different user bases and different philosophies, the System/36 lineage and the System/38 lineage. Merging them was a genuinely difficult technical undertaking, but IBM pulled it off. The most groundbreaking feature of the AS400 was something called TIMI, Technology Independent Machine Interface. In simple terms, programs were compiled into a hardware-independent intermediate form, which meant that even if the underlying CPU architecture changed completely, existing programs didn't need to be rewritten. In fact, in the mid-1990s, IBM made a massive transition, moving the AS400's processors from CISC architecture to RISC-based PowerPC chips, and most customers' existing programs kept running, often without even needing to be recompiled. This is one of the key reasons the AS400 earned such deep, lasting trust. RPG evolved right alongside the AS400. In 1994, RPG-4 was released, introducing a concept called ILE, Integrated Language Environment. This let RPG call and interoperate with other languages like C, COBOL, and CL at the procedure level. It was also the first time RPG supported partial free format code, though it wasn't complete yet. Only the C spec, the logic section, could be written in free format, everything else was still fixed format. Then, in 2013, with the IBM i7.1 TR7 update, fully free-format RPG finally arrived. No more D-specs or C-specs with rigid column positions, you could now write code freely, just like in any modern programming language. This wasn't just a syntax update, it was proof that RPG was still very much a living, evolving language. And since then, IBM has kept adding SQL integration, open-source tooling support, and more, continuously refining RPG to fit modern development workflows. The name has changed a lot over the years. In 2000, it became I-Series. In 2006, System I. In 2008, it merged with Power Systems to become what we now call IBM I. The label has changed 4 times, but the RPG code running underneath it is still very much alive, and programs written decades ago still run, unmodified, on the latest hardware. That's the legendary backward compatibility the IBM I platform is famous for. So, to sum it up, RPG was born as a simple reporting tool for accountants, became the standard for small business computerization, evolved through its integration with relational databases, and today stands as a fully modernized language with contemporary syntax. Despite its reputation as a dead language, it's quietly powering the core systems of banks and manufacturers all over the world, right now. Here is the summary of RPG Shitori 1959, Birth of RPG. IBM introduces RPG, Report Program Generator, alongside the IBM 1401, designed to replace punch card accounting machines. Its column-based, fixed format, syntax becomes a defining trait. 1969, RPG-2, launched with the System/3, and later carried through the System/34 and System/36, RPG-2 becomes the standard language for small business computerization, payroll, inventory, sales. 1978, System/38 and RPG-3, a turning point, IBM builds a relational database directly into the operating system, and RPG-3 inherits this integrated database philosophy along with structured. Its TIMI architecture makes programs hardware independent, famously surviving the mid-1990s SIS to PowerPC transition without rewrites. 1994, RPG-4 and ILE, RPG gains interoperability with C, COBOL, and CL, plus its first taste of free-format code, logic section only. 2013, fully free-format RPG, RPG modernizes completely, dropping fixed column requirements entirely. Brand evolution, AS400 I-Series, 2000, System I, 2006, IBM I, 2008, with unmatched backward compatibility throughout. Despite its dead language reputation, RPG still quietly runs core banking, manufacturing, and logistics systems worldwide. And in what year was RPG, Report Program Generator, first introduced by IBM? RPG was originally created to replace what kind of equipment? What is the name for RPG's original coding style, where content had to be placed in specific column positions? RPG-2 was released alongside which IBM system in 1969? What made the System/38, 1978, so groundbreaking? What does AS400 stand for? What is the name of the AS400 architecture that made programs hardware independent? In the mid-1990s, IBM transitioned the AS400's processors from CISC to which architecture, largely without requiring customers to rewrite their programs? In what year did IBM introduce fully free-format RPG, removing fixed column requirements entirely? Which of these is not one of the brand names the AS400 platform was renamed to over time? RPG, Report Program Generator, first introduced by IBM. RPG was originally created to replace what kind of equipment? What is the name for RPG's original coding style, where content had to be placed in specific column positions? RPG-2 was released alongside which IBM system in 1969? What made the System/38, 1978, so groundbreaking? What does AS/400 stand for? What is the name of the AS/400 architecture that made programs hardware independent? In the mid-1990s, IBM transitioned the AS/400's processors from CISC to which architecture, largely without requiring customers to rewrite their programs? In what year did IBM introduce fully free-format RPG, removing fixed column requirements entirely? Which of these is not one of the brand names the AS/400 platform was renamed to over time?